Welcome, everyone. I'm now calling this meeting to order. Please stand with us. We'll be led in prayer by Alderman Gallagher. Please remain standing after that for the Pledge of Allegiance. That will be led by Alderman-at-Large George Payne.
Heavenly Father, we come before you and we thank you for this time of year, Lord, a time where we get to celebrate Jesus and his birth, Lord. I pray that we would remember the true meaning of Christmas through this season and into the new year, Lord. Bless our city. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First on the agenda this evening is the approval of minutes for the December 2nd, 2025 meeting.
So moved. Second.
We have a motion by Alderman Hoots and then a second by Alderman Jerome. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman James.
Yes.
Alderman Hughes.
Yes.
Alderman Jerome.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher.
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler.
Yes.
Alderman Flores.
Yes.
That motion carries. Next on our agenda, we tabled two prior discussions about the medical cannabis ordinance. So just want to give the Board of Aldermen an opportunity, if there's any action to be taken, let's let that happen now. If not, then we'll move on to the next item.
I'd like to make the motion to move it to the 6th of January.
Just table it again, leave it untabled,
Yes.
but leave it on the agenda for the 6th?
Yes.
Okay, we have
For the 6th, and that's it.
Okay, we have a motion by Alderman Jerome to move item 5 to the January 6th board meeting. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Got a second by Alderman Hoots. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman James.
Yes.
Alderman Hughes.
Yes.
Alderman Jerome.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher.
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler.
Yes.
Alderman Flores.
No.
Okay, and that motion carries. So item number 6 on the agenda tonight is Southaven Police Department contracts. City Attorney, Mr. Nick Manley.
Yes, Mayor and Board, there are 3 contracts tonight for approval. We can approve them all at one time, and I can just give an overview of each one. The first contract is just an amendment with our SPD flock contract. It provides additional support for the Intel unit, authorizes AI-powered software to use for certain activities for our Intel unit for SPD. It's $20,000 for 3 years. The software will be ancillary to the actual services provided. Second item is the proposal agreement with Colio. This is a 3-year contract for $15,910 per year, and it allows for narcotics to use for certain situations that they may have for better communications and investigations. And the last contract is Norton Data Processing Amendment, and this is just a program designed for the filing system and the resource sharing within the unit to help with ethical cases and ethical reviews. It's an artificial intelligence system. It's only a $600 a year contract, but it will be helpful in the data processing from an AI perspective for ethics and or additional case management as well. So tonight, need authorization for all 3 of these contracts, and Chief Kern can sign all 3 or his designee.
So moved.
We have a motion by Alderman Gallagher, second by Alderman Wheeler. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Hughes.
Yes.
Alderman Jerome.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher.
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler.
Yes.
Alderman Flores.
Yes.
That motion carries. Next on the agenda is Public Works Centus agreement.
Yeah, this agreement for Public Works is just the agreement for the uniform for the employees. It is on state contract, so it is compliant with Mississippi law. So tonight, need authorization for signature of the Centos contract as presented on state contract.
So moved. Second.
We have a motion by Alderman Hoots, second by Alderman Payne. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say no. Ayes have it, motion carries. Next on our agenda is a resolution for the purchase of vehicles for our police department.
This is similar to the resolutions we've approved in the past for purchase from the Missouri Highway Patrol. This is actually a purchase from the Kansas Highway Patrol. It's 3 vehicles, the amount of $112,825. There was a substitute for one of the vehicles late on Friday, so it is their new exhibit tonight, but it still is three vehicles that are being purchased from the Kansas Highway Patrol that need authorization tonight as presented.
Mr. Mayor, I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
We have a motion by Alderman Payne, second by Alderman Jerome. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman who?
Yes.
Alderman Jerome.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher.
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler.
Yes.
Alderman Flores.
Yes.
That motion carries. Next on our agenda are resolutions for sole source purchases in our utilities department.
Yeah, there's two of these as well tonight for sole source purchases. The first, and they can be approved at the same time, but the first is for the Badger meters. The AMR system for the city uses Badger meter. It's proprietary to the city's meter reading system. And Central Pipe supplies the only source that sells the Badger meters. Second one is for Barnes pumps, and this was, we previously went to bid for pumps, and Barnes was the low bid and so our grinder systems, the city's grinder systems that are used, the pumps can only use Barnes pump, and Barnes pump is only sold by J.R. Stewart. So tonight you need authorization to sign these resolutions for the sole source for both of these items.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion by Alderman Hoots, second by Alderman Payne. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman who?
Yes.
Alderman Jerome.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher.
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler.
Yes.
Alderman Flores.
Yes.
That motion carries. Next on our agenda are the award of two bids for Johns Creek box culvert replacement and utilities mounted truck.
These also come in at the same time. The Johns Creek box culvert replacement, lowest and best bid was from Inscore LLC in the amount of $1,427,168. And then for the jetter truck for the utilities department, the lowest and best bid is from Vacuum Truck Service LLC in the amount of $219,865. So need authorization to award both bids as the lowest and best bid and authorize any contracts or documents to be signed based on the bids.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion by Alderman Payne, second by Alderman Hoots. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman who?
Yes.
Alderman Jerome.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher.
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler.
Yes.
Alderman Flores.
Yes.
That motion carries. Next on the agenda are resolutions for the removal of buildings pursuant to Mississippi Code 21-1911.
Yes, sure. Yes, sir. As you stated, the agenda items we have for proposed removal pursuant to Mississippi Code 21-1911, two of them, 7515 Highway 51 and 938 Main Street. You'll probably better know them as the Highway Baptist Church site at the northwest corner of Dorchester and Highway 51. And the other building is over here on Main Street on the north side, previously known as Checkers. I believe they've closed since then. I have the fire marshal as well as the building official here that can provide documentation and opinions based on the conditions of the buildings. It is recommended by building, fire, and code enforcement to go through the condemnation procedures for the removal of the buildings. So that's what we're here to discuss tonight.
I know that we have some people involved with the properties in the audience, so now's the time if anyone would like to speak. Both of these topics have been heavily discussed in the past. There's been tremendous discussion, one of them lasting over, 8 to 10 years, so this is not anything that happened overnight. This is something that the city has been facing for a very long time. And so as I've told some of the people already before we got to this meeting, that the time is up. I mean, we've been as deliberate as we possibly can. I would say no city, I can tell you that, speaking on my own personal behalf, and I think I speak for the board members as well, nobody wants to be involved in the condemnation process. We have so many good things going on in our city. We don't want to be a part of this, but we have to address blighted property. And I'll just say this, blighted property goes beyond your property borders. When you have a blighted piece of property, it impacts the entire city. It starts affecting, the values of the other surrounding properties. It affects economic opportunities for the city, which can benefit every person that lives in the city. So we're in a situation where we've waited, we've been deliberate purposely. We've basically brought these discussions up publicly multiple times in the last 3 or 4 years, basically pleading for anybody that was affiliated with these organizations to come forward to help the current people involved in this and to make change for the better, and that has just simply not happened. And so unfortunately, we're at the situation where we have dangerous buildings. These buildings have photos, if we want to pass those around. The buildings are dangerous at this point, and that's why we're requesting condemnation for those. But if anyone wants to speak, Whitney, if you'll allow them to come forward.
So first, we have an A and B, so if we could just start with 7515 Highway 51, which is going to be your Highway Baptist. I do believe there's some people in the audience who want to get up and speak. I will tell you there are 3 buildings on the site, a gymnasium, a classroom area, and a sanctuary. What you'll see up there is the documentation provided by the building department on his structural analysis. James Gentry, our chief building official, is in the audience too, that can provide any answers you may have afterwards. So I'll just step aside and see if somebody wants to speak.
I am aware that you're focusing on me, and I am sorry for,
Can you introduce yourself, please?
I'm Cynthia Thompson St. John.
Okay.
I can back up, I'm Cynthia Minor Thompson St. John, okay? I've been at Highway Baptist since I was 8 years old. The word love wouldn't even begin to start with what's going on with me. This is not okay. It is not acceptable. I have been left with the burden and the zeal and the job of carrying on and getting help where I could find it to make sure that things were taken care of. I have shared with the mayor and a few of his staff members that I didn't make an appointment with. The plans that people have given me and promises that they have given me to help me repair and rebuild where needed. I also believe, and several of you do too, in Almighty God and His power and His direction. I was there when the buildings were built. I was there I've been there over 50 years, okay? And I've been headmaster. I am ordained in the ministry. I don't want to be the pastor, but I'm the worship leader at this point because we were waiting on funds to complete the structure renovations before we hire somebody to come in, because it's not fair for a new pastor to come in and accept these kinds of responsibilities. Then I get notice from the city that we're tired of working with you, we're tired of looking at you, and we want to draw lines and we want to draw plans. Well, see, I'm just going to tell you how I feel, okay? I know the conditions, I know what's been said, I know the ins and outs more than anybody, even the inspectors, okay? I was there when people were saved, baptized. I was there for the murals that are painted on the walls by the artist. There are 27 walls that are covered with murals of history from the United States, from the Bible, and I've got a great uncle who painted the baptistry wall before the buildings were ever open. He was an artist. He's in heaven, along with my dad and brother. I found out earlier that I would be able to go in and collect my personal items and take care of the things that need to be taken care of inside. And I appreciate that, but let me just make a statement that I believe that God keeps his promises. I believe his promises are true. And I don't want to be or sound, and I'm going to sound very rebellious, but I'm going to have to say it. I believe that God will make a way. With things that you can't see because you're not in my shoes and you haven't lived my life. You didn't receive the promises that I received, and no one stepped up because God had already chosen me. God had already given me the funds and promises to take care of it, and he has provided the means. His thing is timing, and he wants to be impressive, just like he was in the Bible where he talks about where Pharaoh came after Moses. They were brothers. They were reared as brothers. And Pharaoh had the army, he had the spears, he had all of the horsemen, he had everything he needed to run over Moses and his weak little Hebrew children. But God made a way. And when he was faced with the river, with no ship and no way out, all he was asked to do was raise a stick, and God made the way. And I am going to share with you that God is going to make a way, and I believe it. I don't know how. I don't know when, but I know he will make a way. I do thank you for your time and respect.
Thank you, Cynthia. And Cynthia and I, as she alluded to, have spoken about this. And I admire, as I told her, I admire her faithfulness and her mission. But this is something that clearly, you know, she's been left with a church that was vibrant at one time. And she's been left with a situation that's too big for her to handle. And I would also just, certainly not going to attempt to be anyone's spiritual advisor, but I would say this, that from what I know from my own experience, God speaks to us in different ways, and sometimes he's telling us that it's time for a change. The church is bigger than a building, and a building that is full of black mold and rotten wood that's dangerous for a congregation to go into. I think it's pretty clear that God's saying that that's not the place that is going to be the house for his purposes. So we're not talking about ending a church here. Let's keep everything in perspective. We're not talking about ending a church. We have great respect for the history of Highway Baptist Church and Academy. There are many people. I grew up in the neighborhood right behind there. Had friends that went to school at Highway Baptist Academy, that went to church there. It was a great church in our community. Been a great part of Southaven's history, but that building in its current condition, that's not Highway Baptist Church anymore. That is a building that is in a blighted condition that is dangerous, and we're out of time. And again, I think that God speaks to us in different ways, and I think he's telling us that it's time to do something different here. Would you like to speak, sir?
Yes, sir, I would. I got something very important to tell you, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, sir.
My name is Mike St. John. I'm a trustee at the church. I had a crew of men, 5 men, at that church working on the roof, working on the woodwork. And our code enforcement officer, and I ain't calling no names, but he told us to get off the building. We was trying to put a roof on it and do some woodwork. If we didn't get off the building, we'd be put in jail. That happened. That seriously happened. Now, how are we supposed to do anything if we can't access the building?
That's just, sir, and we're not going to, just want to make sure you understand something. We're not going to be arguing in a public meeting
sir,
tonight.
we're
But
not.
that is not correct. That did not happen. And so that's not true. There's,
Mr. White.
we've been trying for 10, we've been
Yes, sir.
trying for 10 years. I've been involved in this, and I told Cynthia about this today. When those people that were out there doing their job, that's under my directive. They're enforcing the laws of the city. And so I've been involved in this personally for 8 to 10 years. I know that we've done nothing but ask for the church to take care of the property. We knew this day was coming. We didn't want this day to come, and we've been begging for someone to take care of the property for 10 years. And I'm not saying that you're, as I mentioned a few minutes ago, I believe Cynthia's heart is pure as gold, that she has great intentions, and I'm sure you've been a big part of that as well. Bottom line is that the work has not been done. We've been asking for 10 years for it to be done. Can't even get the grass cut at
Yes,
a
sir, it's
minimum.
been cut. It has been cut.
No, sir. You've cut the grass, but after we've pleaded with you over and over, there's a list of code enforcement violations that are longer than the top of this desk right here.
Yes, sir, I know
We've
that.
been asking for you to take care of the property,
same-
and you've not done that, okay? You have cut the grass after we've taken you to court over and over and over and over. And then, but the issue now, it's gone to a different level of severity.
Yes, sir, I understand.
Now, we're not talking about grass anymore. We're talking about a
Structural
building
building, yes,
that
sir.
is actually falling in. You have part of the building that is actually falling in. The old Sunday school is actually falling in. I have the photos if you'd like to see them. You know it because
I
you've
know
been
it.
out there.
I'm there every Sunday,
So we're
every
not going to
Wednesday,
come
every-
into this room and say things that aren't true.
No, sir,
I
I'm
was
not.
out. I
I'm
looked
not.
at it again. Excuse me. I
I'm
looked
not.
at it again today. The building is falling in. You have black mold in all the buildings, and bottom line is the buildings are dangerous, and we're to a different stage of this process
Different level.
now.
Yes, sir, I agree. I agree with you 100%. But as I said, I had men on the roof, and our code enforcement officer told us to get off the roof or they're going to put me in jail. And
Nick, you're an
you've got
attorney.
no record of that.
Why in the world would anybody, why would a code
Well-
enforcement, why would the city have any motivations? The very thing that we're asking the property owner to do to take care of the property, why in the world would we stop them from trying to?
Because we wasn't licensed contractors to build off that roof.
Well,
That's what I
now,
was told.
that's a different topic.
That's what I was told.
Okay, well, then there's your answer. You just answered your own question.
If Mr. President, I'm not sure I'd argue with you, but if a shingle blows off your house, you gonna call a contractor to put a shingle on your house, or you gonna go up and put it on yourself?
I think we're being extreme here. I think that no one
I
would.
wasn't at the time, sir. This has
Yeah.
been 2 years ago this happened.
Yeah. Well, what's been done since then?
Kept the grass cut.
Is the building is in a state of disrepair?
We was told to stay out of, we couldn't enter the building.
Well, we're not, like I said, we're gonna keep this, just to the facts here, and I know you don't agree, I know Cynthia doesn't agree, but the city has been very deliberate, very fair. Our people have
I'm not
pleaded
disagreeing
with,
with you.
have pleaded with the church to take care of this property. It is in a state of disrepair now that is impacting the entire city, or at least the properties in that area, and so it's time for us to move forward. We're out of time, it's time for us to move forward.
Yes, sir.
As I said, I can assure you, there's a lot of great things going on in this city. Do I want to be having this discussion with you? This is the last thing in the world I'd like to be talking to you. But I have to do my job because I swore to uphold the laws of the state of Mississippi, the country, and our city. And I have to execute the laws of this city as the head executive of Southaven. And I'm doing that. And I've pleaded with you. My team can tell you, we've talked about this for years and years. I've prayed about this. I did not want to be having this discussion with you tonight.
No,
But the
sir, I don't
time
have
is
it
up.
either.
The time is up.
Can we start working on it the week after Christmas?
Sir, we've been asking you for 10 years to work on the
I'm
building.
asking you, sir, can we
No,
get?
sir. No, this board is going to make a decision tonight, but I think any reasonable person, when we've been asking you for 10 years to do something about
And I was
this,
run off
and
the-
you failed to do it, why do we think that tomorrow's going to be any different? That's not, no reasonable person would believe that.
So you're calling me a liar in front of
I'm
all
not
these
calling you
people here.
anything. In fact, we're going to end this discussion. I'm telling you that you've had opportunities for us not to be at this meeting tonight
I'm
talking
trying to
about
keep that
this.
church from being condemned and tore down. That's what I'm trying to do. And I'm trying to make repairs now.
Yeah.
That's all I want to do is just give me a little time to do some repairs and not run me off the building when
Yeah,
I'm on the
we've
building.
heard this for 10 years. So the board, like I said, if they decide not to condemn it, but I've got people in this room that can tell you, we've had these discussions for at least 10 years, trying to get you to do what you say you're going to do now. And so I don't think there's any reasonable person that would believe that that's about to happen. Not because you don't want to, but you've proven that you don't have the ability to do it. So the other thing, and just for the board and everybody, Cynthia and I did talk about this. If somehow there was some misunderstanding that you couldn't go in the building, we checked with the
That was
court. There was
told us.
no, we talked to the court today. There's no pending order that prevents you from going into the building. Now, I will say, and I can show the pictures, I don't know how you can get in the building because of the condition it's in, but you do have the opportunity to go in the buildings, preserve anything that's of special, history and meaning. So the city is going to be extremely cooperative with that for you to allow to get the stuff out of the buildings that you choose to get out.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Mayor, I've got some questions, and I'm not sure, maybe you might can answer
Yeah.
them or somebody else.
I know quite a bit about this situation.
Is there an active congregation, an active church service, any kind of active worshiping that happens in the building? What's the status of Highway Baptist Church?
That's the pictures of the inside building.
But
That will answer your question.
Is there an active congregation that
Not in the building,
that
no.
meets somewhere at all?
We have our services in the parking lot beside the building, sir, 3 times a week, just like always.
Outside.
Outside.
Because he told me until I made,
Do you get, is there tithing? Can I ask how many members are in your congregation?
I have 30 members and I have to
Sure.
visit them.
Yeah.
What's not being expressed is the threats that were made, that they would put the members in jail. They did put me in jail for 3 days.
That's not why you went to jail. You went to jail
They
for
call
contempt
it-
of court.
They call it contempt, but I was there, I was willing to do, but you can only do what you have the money to do at the time, and they wanted everything done in 1 week, by Wednesday.
That's just simply, no one with the city threatened to put anyone in jail for.
They did,
No, ma'am, they did not.
they did.
No, we're not going to let this meeting get ridiculous.
My
Tim,
mother
would you come
also
forward, Tim,
testified to
please?
that.
Tim is our fire marshal. And James, would you come as well, please, sir? James Gentry is our chief building official.
Sure.
And Tim, would you answer just in general the amount of years that you've been working on this, some of the things that have transpired during your efforts to keep the building, your job is to keep buildings safe in this city.
Yes, sir.
And so in your efforts to keep the building safe, talk to us a little bit about that.
I started with the fire marshal's office in 2007. I believe Judd Killebrew, one of our retired, started going over there, trying to do inspections. Pretty much kept getting excuses after excuses. Oh, well, we've got a meeting and we need to go here and all this. Wouldn't let him in. 2012, I believe it was, I sent an organization over there that was willing to help with fixing the roof and all this. Man called me back, told me that the lady that ran it had told him to leave, that she had someone else that was going to be fixing on the church.
Has the roof been redone since then?
Not that I'm aware of. 2023, James and I went over and toured the church, the gymnasium, and the school. Pretty much 45–50% of the school building. The roof has collapsed in. We weren't even able to get into the building. We had to more or less walk around and look through the windows. The gymnasium was pretty much full of anything and everything you could think of. It almost looked like a trash dump in there. Whenever we went into the church, we were able to take some pictures. There was water damage, mold, ceiling tiles falling out, at which time we were asked to leave, that they had a church service about to start that evening. On exact date, 4/18/23, I did issue both as an unsafe building and turned it over for abatement. That was in 2023.
And then James, you know, your job again, obviously Tim on the fire side and fire safety side, but your job is to oversee structures in our city, make sure that buildings are built and then obviously maintained to a safe level in the city. So what is your assessment of the buildings at the Highway Baptist property?
It's an unsafe condition right now for numerous reasons. I mean, based on what we could see, there's a lot of water damage. There's some structural damage. To what degree, we wouldn't know without, you know, getting the engineers in there and looking at it. But certainly, the health hazards are obvious with the what looks like mold from all the water pouring in over years.
Board members, do y'all have any questions for Tim or James?
What do you think it would cost to prepare the sanctuary, to get it?
I don't really know how to put a price to it.
Hundreds of thousands of dollars?
Probably. I would anticipate the entire roof would have to come off and be replaced, and then I don't know on the structure how much damage has occurred since the last time we've been in there, because it's been open for a long time.
And you have pictures in front of you. There's one photo in there of the roof rafters. You can see that you have, we're not talking about just shingles and roof decking. You have actual rafters of the roof that are rotten because they've had so much water there with no attention to it for so many years. So that's when you start having rafters of a roof that are rotten, you start talking about a building collapse. So a long way to answer Alderman Payne's question. Again, we're not talking about stopping a church here. We're talking about a building that was once used as a church. But you can tell by looking at the photos, there's no way you could have a church service in that building.
I'd just like to add my wife was the head of Serve Southaven, which is an organization that tries to help churches like that. And she went in and had talks with y'all, and y'all agreed to have some help. And then when she tried to send the help out, the help was turned away.
I made that clear yesterday, that help was not turned away. They came with tennis shoes on and were gonna walk in the water to work. They weren't dressed properly in a ditch, they weren't dressed properly. They needed water boots on. And it wasn't me turning away. I turned away no one who asked to work on the roof. No one ever asked me to work. I don't know what that speech was. Nobody asked me. I also didn't make y'all leave because we were having services. So there are I have some discrepancies on what's being said. I'm not gonna argue.
Yeah, this
I
is
know
not,
God's-
again, this is.
I know God's working, and
Yeah.
I believe it.
Absolutely.
We're trying to be fair, as we have been for a very, very long time, and so where we are now, the city has been extremely fair. The city has been more than fair. And like Alderman, and not to get into details, but I started Serve Southaven. That was my program. We appointed directors. We had volunteers. Christy Faulkner's in the audience. She's managed it at times as well. We have a network of people that want to volunteer and help. Again, the last thing in the world we want to do is having a meeting like this, and we did make an effort to try to help you. So,
Are these pictures of 23?
yes. So you got 2 more years of, you're a home builder. You know what rotting in 2 years what can happen.
There's $150,000-$200,000 easy.
When was the last time that the sanctuary was actually used for a service?
Well, when they told me that they would put us in jail if I went back into the building. And that did happen. I don't care what it says, it did happen.
And what year would that have been?
24.
Any other questions for Tim and James? Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. Okay. So the recommendation is for condemnation per Mississippi Code 21-1911. We've been talking about item A. Is there anybody regarding item B that wants to speak at 938 Main Street?
I'll be brief. Robert Bass with Phelps Dunbar in Tupelo. I represent Checkers Drive-In Restaurants, Inc., the tenant of this building. I usually have more information available. It sounds like there may have been some history. I did look at some of the photographs of this property, and at least from the exterior, it's an abandoned property. We had subleased that property historically to a franchisee. There was an unauthorized closure in, I believe, 2024, maybe early 2025. And to my knowledge, and again, this is all relatively recent knowledge, we received a notice from our landlord in November regarding this hearing, and with information that the building was structurally unsound. I have not seen any other information other than that particular notice regarding the property. I'm here on behalf of Checkers to say that, one, we as an organization are willing, to do whatever is necessary to, fix this issue temporarily. Our lease does expire in June, I believe June 30 of 2026, at which point, we will have no other interest in the property. At this point, it does not appear there will be time for us to get a new franchisee in that store. We would anticipate that the store would remain closed through June 2026, again, when our lease expires. In the meantime, though, we're willing to do whatever is necessary. We would hope, because we do not own the building, that we could do something short of demolishing the entire building.
You're probably going to need Tim and James to update us on that building as well.
Chatting, is that correct? Yeah.
So they don't own the building.
So we've not received,
franchisee.
other than that, it's the only written notice that we had received from him. I'm sorry. I don't have anything other
They
than
don't own the
the
building.
November
They don't own the
notice.
building, the franchisee backed out. So, I'm not sure what you're losing. You don't own the building, the franchisee backed out. What's Checkers' stake in it at this point?
Who are you working on behalf
Yeah.
of?
So I'm working on behalf of Checkers, and because we are the tenant under the lease, we have certain obligations to the landlord to return this building to him in the same or substantially the same condition as we received it back in 2006. We're also responsible for complying with zoning, zoning ordinances, other laws, rules, and regulations.
So who would the landlord be? Who owns the building?
The landlord is actually a trust. I believe the name is the Chatton Family Trust. The trustees, it's my understanding, live in California.
Yeah, I've been in touch with the family trust. I've had communications with the trustees in California. They're aware of the issue. Obviously, they told me they had to go to lease, and the Checkers would have someone here to address it. I sent the information to the trustee, and I apologize, he didn't send that information to, obviously, their attorney, Mr. Bass, but, so we took the information that was given, from the code department, fire department, and building department, put that in, reviewed that, there was recommendation for a 21-1911 condemnation, that was sent to the trust in California, and I'm assuming they then got in touch with Checkers. So to Mr. Bass' point, the issue is they're the lead. He's basically saying the lessee's it's on them to figure this out, because I have a lease with them to do this. So I do know, talking with him, there is the desire to get in
And
compliance.
Checkers is the lessee?
Yes.
Is the lessee?
Yes, and they want to get, the owner of the building does want to get in compliance, and fix it. He acknowledged the issues. He noted that there were obviously some major issues, inside and outside the building as far as the condition. But I don't know if you ever got in touch, I don't think you ever got in touch with our building department or fire department.
Access it, so if he has some way to allow them to access the property to gauge it better on the interior space as to how much damage, we can see the interior space.
Right.
I thought they had some pictures of the interior space, did I?
Just through the windows, I think.
Yeah, so the windows and things like that. There's some things that you need to look at, you know, from load-bearing walls and things like that that need to be looked at. And I don't know if your client is able to provide them access.
So, yes, I'm sure we can provide access. And again, I may have more questions than I ordinarily would. I'm not familiar with the building, but is it a modular building?
We do have knock spots that should be, if it's still current.
Is that a modular building? I noticed an awning on the outside.
Right. But you had Checkers wasn't running the store.
That is correct.
The Checkers organization wasn't running the store. You had a franchisee that was under contract with Checkers.
That is correct. They were a
And he
subtenant.
breached his contract.
There was an unauthorized closure of that location.
Okay.
And so, again, from my client's standpoint, this notice is all we have. I asked, because I looked in the notice, there was reference there to prior issues. I asked if we had any record of this, and this is what we've received.
But Checkers is still paying a lease to a
We're
building
still paying rent
that
through
you're not
June
using.
2026. That is correct.
So are y'all gonna swoop in here and repair it and open it back up? And-
We are willing to repair the property to bring it back into compliance, because again, we are required to do so under the lease. In a lot of these leases, we actually construct the building and do a ground lease. In that case, we would be happy to, hey, we'll clean the building off. Here, we are required under the lease to return the building in the same condition as we received it.
That's what I was
to the
trying to
landlord.
understand,
That's
because
right.
my thought was, if you gotta pay your rent up until next summer, what do you care if we tear it down anyway?
It's
Just pay your rent and
surrender
then, you know, we
condition.
need to
That's
also
right.
the guy in
No,
California.
ordinarily, we would say
Okay.
no, and we would just pay it. But to be frank, my concern would be what we would have to do after the termination of the lease. If there's no building, do we have to, build another one?
My question to you is, and when we, as you know, when we get to this point, we're late in the game.
Yep.
Where has who's been charged with managing this property? Where have they been?
So, again, to my knowledge, we have someone who is engaged, a third party. I can't recall their name, and I may not know, who's been responsible for going and maybe doing some light cleanup work, potentially. I don't know if it's lawn maintenance, but making sure there's no trash. But other than that, I do not know if anyone's done anything as far as routine maintenance, repairs. I don't even know if the utilities
But you
are
see
on,
there's been a
frankly.
failure somewhere.
I can tell you just from looking at the outside of the building that it's not something our organization wants. We didn't want a store to close. It was not a planned closure of that particular store. Our concern is, hey, we want to abide by the terms of our lease when this expires to return the property to our landlord in the same condition that we received it, and we're willing to do that.
Can I ask a couple of
Sure,
questions?
sure.
Whitney, who are we sending the notices to? To the trustee, right?
The code enforcement officials go to the actual owner of the property.
Okay, so was the trustee conversing with
I cannot
you all?
tell you. It
To,
doesn't seem that way.
to my knowledge, we received this one notice, and we received a call when he received this notice.
What notice did
It's-
you receive?
This is a November, I believe, 2024 notice that was notifying us about the public hearing today.
And you all did.
And I was engaged yesterday,
So if Checkers received notice in 2024,
no, 2025, November 24, 2025, prior to,
you just got it then, basically?
that is, I got it yesterday.
And so they got it from us? Is that correct?
We received it it was addressed to the property owner, and he forwarded that to our folks in
So the
Florida.
trust forwarded it to them?
That is
Sure, 'cause we're not
correct.
gonna be privy to
Sure.
the internal
Absolutely.
contract with the
I get
property
it.
owner.
The trust was
and-
out of California, and I talked with him, and he told me he was gonna get with Checkers on that, and he claimed he wasn't aware. I don't know if he was or wasn't aware, but Checkers is not since Checkers was not the owner, we had to go through for the tax form.
Were you all paying rent this whole time we were?
That is correct.
So are you able to sublease it for the remainder of the contract, so it's not just an empty property, or is that something that is a possibility?
There are conditions to subletting that particular property. If we had, again, another franchisee, we would have some leeway to sublet or assign the lease. However, because the lease expires in June 2026, it's difficult to get a new tenant into that building, you know, absent an agreement with the landlord, you know, who would consent to that.
So correct me if I'm wrong, what you're really trying to do is ask us for time to repair that property and then turn it back over to Chatham, where they're the beneficiary of all the repairs that you're making.
That is correct.
So
And
they
we would
can
love
turn
to do
around
that
and-
sooner rather than later, but
And lease
again,
it
that
again.
is up to him, you know, in the agreement of the parties under that
And
contract.
Checkers is willing to put up the money to do all of that?
We are
Because from the
willing, well,
pictures,
we're
it doesn't-
obligated under the lease,
Oh,
and
okay.
so
So you have a contractual obligation to fix this building.
that is correct.
So is it gonna have signage put back up and everything else?
It would not be signage, and again, if,
That's not gonna happen.
again, I even hate speaking at this point as far as, hey, they would do A, B, C without, you know, but I have, you know, they said, well, do we need to remove the awning if there's places for signage? To me, it seems like it would be reasonable for them to, you know, leave a standing building there that's cleaned up, whether it's, again, I noticed the awning, I don't know if it historically had some kind of canopy over it, or the canopy, it just kind of looks like a metal awning.
From what I understand, about 6, 8 months ago, when Checkers closed, they had their maintenance staff come down there and remove anything that was Checkers related.
So ordinarily, that is kind of customary when a lot of my franchise clients, when we move out of a property, we remove what's maybe called trade dress, you know, so it no longer looks like a Checkers restaurant in this instance.
How long ago was that?
Somewhere around 6, 8 months ago,
So Checkers was aware of this 6, 8 months ago.
the
What-
franchisee,
That's
The
correct.
franchisee, got you.
So
Who
he
closed
had,
that?
he
Who had
had
it unauthorized?
obligations to us, and again, I don't want to speak too much on that, other than it was an unauthorized closure, and I do believe there may be still some ongoing issues with that particular closure.
What's your ask?
So,
What's your ask?
my ask is to allow us sometime, give us some sort of remediation plan that is short of demolishing the entire building, to make this property where it is not an eyesore, you know, as, again, it's a difficult situation for us because we do feel at this point handcuffed under our obligations under the lease, which include our obligations to comply with law. And at the same time, we have a short period, you know, where it's just not, we're not able to reasonably lease that property or sublet that property for such a short period.
And I think I'm saying the obvious, that's a very unusual lease agreement. So what I'd like to know, James and Tim, obviously, like I've said earlier in this meeting, when we get to this point, this is late in the game. So who have we been talking to or requesting to speak to that has not complied with us? Is it the trust in California? Again, is there a local property manager? Somebody has failed, obviously, to maintain the property to get to this point. So can you tell us a little history on this building?
Yeah, so we asked municipal, Victor's in the audience, code enforcement was sent out there first, and started addressing the exteriors. We brought them in per our request to come in and look at it a few months ago, and then, came back around. So I don't know that they've necessarily been working with somebody other than code enforcement, who's been working with the people in California, who again, he's been working with.
Who's recommending a condemnation?
It's a recommendation for the letters that they provided us, based on the exterior. Like, we have not been able to enter the premises, so as I was listening to him, he wants to do anything possible short of a demolition. I don't know that we want to agree to that until we get to the interior space, because it may be no other option but to demolish.
Well, can
But-
y'all have an agreement with him to get our team inside the building?
Yeah, I think that's what I think we should do, is maybe hold off to the next meeting, have a interior space inspection by police, and, by fire and building department and the code enforcement office, and come back on the 6th with a final recommendation, now that we've had our eyes on the interior space
Yeah.
and the exterior space.
That makes more sense. And
Okay.
let me just tell you how we get in situations like this. This is something that, and I respect what you're here to do tonight, but what we get into throughout the city occasionally is we have buildings like this that are, again, in violation of codes, and they're not taken care of. Nobody takes responsibility. You have a trust in, out of state, you have absentee ownership. And so meanwhile, the city's here trying to deal with a building in that condition, and we can't get anybody to respond. So that's kind of how we got to where we are today. But if there's a way that my team can get in the building, properly assess that, I agree with Whitney's assessment that we do that and table that or wait on that.
Maybe table it to December 6th, the next meeting, gives you 2 weeks
We can,
and access to building for.
no, absolutely.
Or would it be, you going January 6th or the 20th? I mean, are y'all gonna be in town for the holidays or? Okay, yes.
I mean, it's enough to where we can get somebody over there, it's right across the street, we can get somebody over there for the next 2 weeks and just finalize the assessments they have based on the interior space too.
If they will give me authority, I will go over there tomorrow and check the key in the Knox box
Okay.
to see if it still operates the door.
Well, again, my folks are in Florida, but we'll absolutely coordinate and do whatever we need to do, you know, to get you guys access.
Typically, I'm not supposed to use a Knox key unless it is actually a fire. But if someone would,
Y'all coordinated.
Yeah, absolutely.
We'll get you
No.
that, yeah. So can we table it,
Yeah.
request to table it until the December 6th hearing?
January 6th.
January
6th.
6th.
I don't know why I'm stuck on December,
Okay.
to the January 6th.
Did you have any other comments, sir?
No, sir.
Okay.
Thank you.
And you have
guys
your
for
contact
time.
information with these gentlemen?
I'll share. Thank
All
you
right,
all.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay.
I'll make a motion that we table till January 6th.
Okay, we have two items on here, so. There's a motion, or is there a motion? I'm asking for a motion. So the ask, based after hearing our staff regarding A and B, the motion is to proceed with condemnation on item A and to table B until January the 6th. So is there a motion?
So moved.
The motion by Alderman Gallagher, is there a second?
Second.
Second, Alderman Wheeler. Any other discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Hoots.
Yes.
Alderman Jerome.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher.
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler.
Yes.
Alderman Flores.
Yes.
That motion carries. Next on our agenda is the Barracuda agreement.
Okay, Mayor and Board, this agreement with Barracuda is at the last meeting, we agreed to do a subscription for the city firewall. Since that time, they provided an agreement for the subscription, and it does contain the supplement information for governmental entities in Mississippi law. So tonight, need authorization for that to be signed by the mayor or the IT director.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion by Alderman Payne, second by Alderman Hoots. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Hoots.
Yes.
Alderman Jerome.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher.
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler.
Yes.
Alderman Flores.
Yes.
That motion carries. Next on our agenda is utilities contract with Trimble.
Yeah, this is a city utilities contract with Trimble, as the mayor noted. It's a professional service agreement for the software and maintenance upgrades for the GPS devices as part of their services. So tonight, need authorization for Ray Humphrey, the Director of Utilities, to sign the contract with Trimble. $6,500 per year, or $6,175 per year.
Is there a motion?
So moved. Second.
We have a motion by Alderman Wheeler, second by Alderman Gallagher. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Hoots.
Yes.
Alderman Jerome.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher.
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler.
Yes.
Alderman Flores.
Yes.
That motion carries. Next on our agenda is a resolution for surplus property in our IT department.
This would just authorize surplus of IT equipment no longer needed under 172525 of the Mississippi Code.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
We have a motion by Alderman Payne, second by Alderman Jerome. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Hoots.
Yes.
Alderman Jerome.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher.
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler.
Yes.
Alderman Flores.
Yes.
That motion carries. Next on the agenda is a contract amendment with Unity, for internet and phone.
Yeah, this Unity is two contracts. It's formerly known as Windstream. It provides the internet and phone service for the city. The First Amendment is just with Windstream is for the phone and service agreement for SBD building, $12,850 per month, and then the other one is amendment to the internet service for the city, and that will be, I'm sorry, the SBD building is $1,040 per month, and then the service for the city for internet and phone service for the various buildings and locations owned by the city is $12,580 per month. So need authorization to sign both of these agreements with Unity. They have made the revisions that were requested as part of the contract, and authorization is needed for Michael Norris to sign on behalf of the city.
I'll make that motion, Mayor.
I'll second.
We have a motion by Alderman Payne, second by Alderman Jerome. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say no. Ayes have it, motion carries. Next on our agenda is our planning agenda. Our planning director, Ms. Whitney Cook.
Yes, we have two items on the agenda tonight. Both are conditional use permits, and they're both for renewals of existing conditional use permits. So it's essentially a formality. It's expired after 5 years, so these are the renewal of a 5-year time period. The first one's going to be at 8610 Highway 51 North, and this is going to be, most of you will know, it's Bill Fowler's old body shop. What we do when we do a renewal is make sure that there's no code violations or anything that would cause us concerns for a 1 and 4 renewal. We have checked with code. We have spoken to the applicants and have visited the site ourselves. It is in good condition. There have been no code violations, and we will recommend 1+4 renewal of their conditional use for motor vehicle repair at this location.
Is there a motion to approve item 1?
So moved.
I'll second.
We have a motion by Alderman Hoots, second by Alderman Jerome. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Hoots.
Yes.
Alderman Jerome.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher.
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler.
Yes.
Alderman Flores.
Yes.
That motion carries.
Our second application, again, is a renewal of a conditional use permit specifically for 1793 and 1799 Main Street. It is in a multi-tenant building that you see right there on the southeast corner of 51 and Main Street. It is for a full-service spa. They are taking on an additional bay. It has been a good business for the lady, so she is taking on an additional bay. We will continue that into the conditional use permit as well. So we are recommending a 1 and 4 for this one as well. There are no code violations and no areas of concern, so we're recommending approval as well.
Mayor, I make a motion we approve item 2 on the planning agenda.
Second.
On item 2, we have a motion by Alderman Hoots, second by Alderman Payne. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Hoots.
Yes.
Alderman Jerome.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher.
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler.
Yes.
Alderman Flores.
Yes.
That motion carries. Next on our agenda is our mayor's report. I'm going to start with an update. As I've told citizens in the city for a few weeks now, it was not brought to my attention by citizens, but before that, with the XAI development, the power plant that's being renovated, that was used for many years in the city years ago, noise concerns. So I think several people reached out to me directly. I explained to them that I'm aware of that even before they reached out to me. I've been in contact with XAI. They've been receptive like they have with everything else. They heard my concerns. I told them that the noise levels were not acceptable. They listened to me, and so the report tonight is that I did have had enough time to talk to XAI to get them to study a solution that has now been implemented. And like I tell people before, sometimes give us a little time, okay? And we're aware that there's a problem. We need a little bit of time to develop a solution. So we've been working on this for several weeks. So the report today is XAI has done everything we've asked them to do. There are portable generators out there that are on trailers. They're temporary. They're not going to be out there forever. They will eventually be moved, and then other generators will be placed further to the west where the old Duke power plant had those in previous years. So they'll be there, they'll be housed, and they're with the most modern technology to minimize noise. But in the short term, again, they've done what we've asked them to do with the temporary generators. They put up a sound wall, had that done, start immediately. Like 2 days after I brought this to their attention, they started work on this. So we let them do that. We wanted to make sure that that was effective. And so they did that. They've altered their plans on how they're going to place things on that property to not be disruptive to neighboring residential areas. So I commend them for doing everything you've asked them to do. As I've told my staff and I've told the people that have reached out to me, I live in this city. There's no way in the world that I would let anybody come into this city and disrupt this city. So it's always kind of, when someone suggests that, it's kind of amazing to me, and you can tell by this meeting, I care. We go through a lot. But anyway, the report is they've done everything we've asked them to do. I've walked the woods on every side. I've been to 2-lane road out of my truck, walking on foot. I've been to the dead end of Colonial Hills Drive. I've been to Caprock Cove. I've been to Jerry Street Park. I've been to Cherry Valley Park. I've walked the woods. I've been on the railroad tracks. I've listened to make sure that everything that they promised me they were doing is effective. And so, again, Whitney provided me with a decibel meter today. So I actually went back again to use that, and the readings there were as low as 39.1. So what they have done has proven effective, and they've been committed to, as they move on with the development, to being conscientious of everything that happens out there. And they've done everything that we've asked them to do. So that's the report tonight. And again, let me explain this to people. There are times when a solution takes a little bit of time. But when we're not speaking publicly, it doesn't mean that someone's trying to hide something or that we're letting an economic development come in and do something that's harmful for the city. We would never let that happen. It means that sometimes it takes a little bit of time to come up with a solution. And before my credibility is my most treasured thing that I have, so I'm not going to speak on something until I verify that it's correct. And so that's what the time delay, that's what we've been doing, and I'm reporting to you now that what they've done is effective, and we will continue to make sure that everything that they do is a positive for this city. Next thing I want to update everybody on, and we had some hang-ups along the way. It took some time, but the wall at Rasco and 51 is done, except just maybe a little bit of brick cleanup. Beautiful wall, new brick wall. We mirrored the theme that we've had with the city entrance signs, the brick monument signs. And if you haven't seen it, go check it out. It's beautiful.
It looks good.
It's a great enhancement. And just so everyone knows, the old wall had some challenge. We had to take it down. There were some safety issues with that, so that's why we got into this situation. So when we realized we had to take the old wall down, we first thought then, hey, let's make it better. Let's make it prettier. That's a special intersection. It still is for our city. And in the history of our city, that was actually about the city of our city at one time. Like, we all, again, I sound like a historian. I don't feel like I'm old enough to be that, but I guess I am. But I remember the day when Highway 51 was the divider in our city. Like when we did, sports leagues and things like that. If you were on the east side of 51, you competed against the west side, and it was a friendly rivalry, and it was a great thing. But Highway 51 was a key part of our city, and so still you've got Southaven High School right there. That's just a key intersection. It's a special place, and we want that to look good and to continue to be a special part of our city. So this beautification project is outstanding. So go check it out when you get a chance. I promised everybody, like I always do, a year in review. And I'm just going to be honest with you, my plate is full. I have been working my tail off, and I've not had a chance to do that yet. So I will promise that to you in January. But the reason that I'm having to tell you that just tells you how much is going on in our city, how many good things. There's a tremendous amount of great things going on in our city. I'll leave the mayor's report tonight just wishing everybody a Merry Christmas. Like, you have a meeting like this, and you look at the severity of the decisions that are made in this room. You realize the impact that it makes on people's lives. And I know I'm speaking for this board when I say that we don't take anything lightly. We know that we're in a highly leveraged position that impacts a lot of people. And we take that very seriously. We think about that a lot. We pray about that. We always try to do what's right. And so I just want to wish everybody in the city a Merry Christmas. I appreciate the opportunity to serve as mayor of this city. Next on our agenda is our donation docket.
Mr. Mayor, I move we approve 2 donations by the Mid-South Outlet Shops Tanker Mall to the fire and police chief as presented.
I'll second.
We have a motion by Alderman Payne, second by Alderman Jerome. Is there any discussion?
Thank you, Tanker Mall.
Yep.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman who?
Yes.
Alderman Jerome.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher.
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler.
Yes.
Alderman Flores.
Yes.
That motion carries. I do need to back up. I do have one item. As I was talking about XAI, I was talking about the noise resolution. But again, just to show XAI's commitment to the city, they've agreed to 100% fund the widening of State Line Road from where their facility is back to Highway 51, and also pay for the resurfacing of State Line Road all the way back to I-55. So again, this just shows their financial commitment and being a great corporate citizen in Southaven. To do that, that price tag is $3,460,000. And again, they want to fund that 100%. So I have an MOU here, and I'm asking the board to approve this MOU.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion by Alderman Flores, second by Alderman Gallagher. Is there any other discussion?
I have a question regarding that.
Who are you, sir?
So I'm Jason Haley.
Okay, you're on you're scheduled for an agenda item on January 6th?
Yes, sir.
Not tonight. We'll have you on January 6th. What were you wanting to talk about?
I have a question, because I appreciate the update on the XAI, but is there a
Let
time-
us do this. Hang on, I'm gonna let you speak. Hang on just a second. So let's go ahead. This is a different issue. Let's go ahead and wrap this resolution. Was there any other discussion about the resolution? And if there's not, again, would you redo the roll call?
Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Hoots.
Yes.
Alderman Jerome.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher.
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler.
Yes.
Alderman Flores.
Yes.
Okay, that motion carries, and so you want to
I was
go
just
ahead.
curious, I mean, I appreciate you having an update for us on that, but do we have a timeline on those, on the temporary turbines that are there, or the mobile ones that are there? Like,
The state, it's a 12-month permit.
Okay.
The state, MDEQ gives a 12-month permit.
I have noticed that for the last couple of days, the sound has been quieter, but it's happened in the past where it'll be like that for a couple of days and it just goes back to full steam again. And that's a big concern that, you know, when you're worried about if you go home, hey, is this happening again or not? You know, there's many of us in Colonial Hills that have been talking about it, and I've learned from talking to neighbors and people who live around me that they don't even know what's going on. So I know, you know, you've said that you've told the public over and over and people, but there's still people that don't know what this is or about, and I'm not sure where that's been publicly, you know, talked about it.
What, I'm not following you.
Like,
Don't
so-
know what?
Just the fact that the building is there and what's going up, there's a lot of citizens, a lot of people in my area, in the cove I live in, that when I ask, hey, are you hearing this noise? They're like, yeah, what even is this? So I feel like there's been no discussion of that to the public of what's going on there and the timeline for this to, you know, be done.
Yeah, back in the summer, there was I issued a press release that had all those details in it. Well, we're not, and I will tell you this, we're not going to get into all the details because, as I've told many people, there are certain things when we have an economic development, we have to respect, we have to expect their competitive situation in the future, what they're going to do. The only thing I would, hey, we're not going to speak out in public. Chief Kern, would you please address the order of this meeting? That's not going to happen. I don't know what you're used to, but it ain't going to happen in this meeting. Let's get order in this meeting. We'll have order. I've never used this. I'm going to use it. I don't even know how to get that up.
Yeah, our intentions weren't here to come and disrupt.
Yeah, well, you're not
everything.
going to disrupt the meeting. So,
I wasn't trying. I wasn't planning on doing that.
hang on. I'm going to get control of the meeting. I'm going to answer your question, which I was trying to do before being interrupted. If you speak out again, you'll be removed from the building. Does everyone? If you don't understand that, then you're going to learn the hard way. So the answer to your question is that there was a press release that was given back in the summer when that became real and we knew that it was really going to happen. I issued the press release that addressed all the concerns, told everybody what it's about. At this point, all it is about a power plant that's being used to provide power to Colossus 2. That's at this point, that's what's been communicated. So what is going on at the Southaven facility, it is a power plant that has become in order and useful again.
Okay.
What's the other is there another question
I
that
mean,
we've
it's
not?
just- It's been torture since August, hearing this noise daily, and I know you're aware of the noises that you said you heard them, but when you hear them from your backyard day and night, I mean, it's feel like some of that could have been taken care of before letting this happen for months.
Yeah, hands down. No, I've answered that, and as I told you, you reached out to me either by email or by private
I
message.
apologize. One of them wasn't nicest, but I woke up early in that morning and couldn't go back to sleep because I could hear those noises from my bedroom.
Yeah, I
So
understand.
I was a little rude about that, and I do apologize, but it's just,
That's
it's been
okay.
a big concern.
But what I'm trying to assure you, as I've told everybody tonight, when a citizen brings something to my attention, I've told and I told you that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I
you
told you I
did,
was
yeah,
working on a
and I
solution.
said I appreciate
And so
it.
it took a little bit of time. When you reached out to me, and actually before that, I had already been talking to XAI before that. Before you ever contacted me, I've walked the streets, I've walked the woods, I listened, and had a solution underway. So, but again, like I said, it takes a little bit of time to get that done. So anyway, we don't want to inconvenience anybody, but when we realized that it was an issue, we've addressed that, and that's the report tonight, that it is better. But your other concern about it getting better and then getting worse again, it's an ongoing thing. They understand that. They're committed, and I will uphold every promise that I've made to our citizens. I will hold them accountable for that. Thank you for coming forward. Do you still want to be on the agenda for January 6th?
Yeah, I mean, probably so, yeah.
Okay,
There's other
and I'm
people
gonna let you know, I'm gonna let everybody know in the stand, in the audience,
sir.
that you're gonna be on the agenda, and you're here, but you're not gonna take this meeting and disrupt the order of this meeting.
That's not our intentions at all,
Yeah.
and I know there are some people that are involved in, everything related to the Colossus that have different intentions. So I just want to
Right.
answer the clarity and to know what's going on. in
You
my
seem like a
backyard.
very fair, I'm just telling you, I can read, you seem like a very fair person. I've talked to a lot of people about this, and we can look at all the other discussions that have gone on. There's a lot of varying opinions, there's a lot of bad information that's out there.
I was in the news, unfortunately. This isn't where I want to be in my life, but and yeah, I've read comments. I understand that you get from every angle, but it's just this has been a big concern, and it's been happening since August. And
Yeah.
living there, I don't know how. I mean, if you're not living within earshot of it, then it's just hard to understand what's really happening. So,
I know
mean,
where you live,
yeah.
I've walked the railroad, I've been there.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so, and you have my commitment that like I've told everybody from day one, I will hold them accountable to do everything that they've asked, or that we've asked them to do. Yeah, but what we're not gonna do is we're not gonna let, all the false information that's been circulated, that's not gonna happen in this room right
Well,
here.
what's hard to know is what is the real information, because
Right.
I don't feel like
All that will, in due time, all that will be exposed. It will be at the appropriate time, but we have to, when there's a good development for the city of Southaven, we have to protect the competitive situation that corporations are in. If we didn't do that, we wouldn't get the benefit, they wouldn't be here, they'd go somewhere else, okay? So I would never recommend somebody as an economic development to come in the city if it wasn't something that's gonna be good for the city. I can assure you that when we're talking about this 3 years from now, it will be quite evident of the benefits that this is gonna bring to the city of Southaven.
Yeah, it's hard for me to agree with that with all the research and other states. This is across the USA that they're building these everywhere in people's backyards, and the long-term states that's had it for over a year. The utility bills, the water pressure, the water quality. A lot of stuff is affected by this, by these big data centers and power plants going up to benefit a very few people.
All that's been heavily vetted, it is. We're not gonna let something come in that's gonna hurt the city. And I'll leave it at that. But thank you for coming forward. We'll keep you on the agenda for January 6th.
Thank
you. Yeah. So we're done with the road MOU. Appreciate that. So now let's get back to the other part of the agenda. Next on the agenda is the personnel docket.
Mr. Mayor, I move we approve the personnel docket as presented on this date.
Second.
We have a motion by Alderman Payne, second by Alderman Hoots. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Hoots.
Yes.
Alderman Jerome.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher.
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler.
Yes.
Alderman Flores.
Yes.
That motion carries. Next on our agenda is our city attorney's legal update. Mr. Nick Manley again.
No action, just a quick update that the city is looking into possibly doing a stream buffer ordinance or reviewing a stream buffer ordinance as part of the stormwater program for DeSoto County and the permit through MDEQ. We are looking at bringing a stream buffer ordinance sometime in the new year. It's still being reviewed, but we did want to give an update on that by the end of the year to let the board know that we are looking at that. Anything that will be brought to you will be obviously reviewed, revised, and looked at from a developer standpoint along with a enforcement standpoint. So no action, just wanted to report that to the board for the minutes.
Okay. Next on our agenda is our utilities billing leak adjustment docket.
Mr. Mayor, move we approve the utility bill leak adjustment docket as presented.
Second.
We have a motion by Alderman Payne, second by Alderman Hoots. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Hoots.
Yes.
Alderman Jerome.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher.
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler.
Yes.
Alderman Flores.
Yes.
That motion carries. Next on our agenda is one claims docket.
Mr. Mayor, I move we approve the claims docket in the amount of $4,132,402.39, including demand checks.
Second.
We have a motion by Alderman Payne, second by Alderman Flores. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Hoots.
Yes.
Alderman Jerome.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher.
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler.
Yes.
Alderman Flores.
Yes.
That motion carries. Next on our agenda is the purpose of determining the need for executive session.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion by Alderman Hoots, second by Alderman Payne. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say no. Ayes have it. The needs this evening are claims, potential litigation against the Utilities Department, Planning Department, Economic Development within the city, and interdepartmental personnel with no action, and we also have police personnel. Is there a motion to declare executive session?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion by Alderman Gallagher, second by Alderman Wheeler. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say no. Ayes have it, motion carries. The mayor and board will now enter executive session.